the herbivores eat it, whether it's waste or whether it's a decomposing animal. The decomposers take the phosphates and make them available back in the soil. They can be used again. Here we have it going into water, so phosphates in the soil. Now, here you have, what do you call it, where it sinks out? Okay. It will precipitate sediment. Sediment's the word I'm looking for. Sediment is going to build up over the years. You know, and this doesn't happen in decades. This happens in centuries. But that sediment becomes rock. You have uplift where it is exposed, and then it weathers back down. So the phosphates go through a very long-term cycle as it is mixed back into the rock. Okay, get your hands up. Because I can't use that, I think nothing I do works. Concept check. Matter that makes up life is recycled and reused. Which of the following is not recycled primarily through the atmosphere, which is a rapid recycling, but instead is cycled through the rock cycle, which is slow by rock formation and weathering. Ready? Go. Oh, yeah, everybody's on it. Phosphorus. Everything else goes through the atmosphere. Am I the only one that needs more oxygen?
No.
I agree.
Always welcome to get a little more oxygen. Bioaccumulation. Now there are certain things that you come into your body, but your body cannot metabolize and get rid of. And so it builds up into your tissues. So again, certain elements, certain compounds cannot be metabolized or excreted. Anybody without reading? No one? Too late to find out. Okay. So what they do is they accumulate in your tissue because you can't get rid of them. They will build up until you reach a toxic level. That's a poisonous level. Lead is an important one. Lead, poisoning, remember they used to put lead in paint? Chip off, kids would eat it, it had kind of a sweet taste to it. And again, it builds up, a little bit doesn't do harm, but too much starts to do neurological damage. Arsenic, to go back in the 1800s, 1700s, they actually would use it as a cosmetic because they wanted these beautiful white faces. And then you would build up to a level when it was in your body and it would kill you. Mercury, Mad Hatter, when they were making the top hats with the beaver pelts from the West, mercury was important in those processes. It is absorbed through the skin. It does neurological damage. Causes madness. That's where you get to know Alice in Wonderland and Mad Hatter. We still have these, and they're still around. Now, is arsenic out there naturally? Yes. But certain things we'll put more in our bodies, and we need to take care of these doesn't build up in areas where people can get it. It does damage. Okay? That's bioaccumulation. We also have certain pesticides that are non-biodegradable. Anyone other than me old enough to remember DDT? We still talk about it? Wow, it was wonderful stuff, a wonderful pesticide. How many of you have ever gone through a life check at school? Oh my goodness, it's come around at least twice a year, right? When they send them out home and they check your kids twice or that. We went through a long time in my life where it was almost like completely wiped out. Good old DDT, wonderful stuff. But it doesn't biodegrade, it stays there in the sediment, it stays there, and it does damage. Okay. Biomagnification. This is bioaccumulated material. Remember, it can't be excreted, it can't be metabolized. So it builds up in the tissue, and as it goes through the food web, things at the top of the food chain, it builds up with to a toxic level. That's biomagnification. The further up the food chain, the more deadly it becomes. So, bioaccumulated material is passed on to the next trophic level. That you have a lot of mercury in your tissue and you get eaten by somebody else, they get mercury and they can't get rid of it either. Organisms at the top of the energy pyramid are most severely affected. A lot of your birds of prey, for many years, were on the endangered list. A lot of birds, because they live in your wetlands. DDT, interesting. DDT taken in, remains in the body, it's stored in the fatty tissue because it's soluble in fat and you don't get rid of it. It's stored there and eaten. The effect that it has, particularly on birds, is that it affects their ability to utilize the calcium when the birds were producing eggs. So it affected the eggs that were being laid. And since they didn't have a real firm, lots of calcium eggs, the egg shells were very, very thin. The weight of the mother's body on it, as she tried to sit on it and crush the egg. And she had very few eggs able to make it while the baby inside is made, crushed. And many of those that did actually make it were malformed. Again, this is in the water system, the sediment, and so it was around for years. A lot of the water birds, a lot of the predatory birds on the endangered list in many instances have been allowed in the United States. You need to close that. Is that too annoying? Would you rather breathe? Okay. This is a marine environment. Again, this is PCBs that are used in cleaning electrical equipment. Again, it gets in the water. Your phytoplankton are your photosynthetic. They're eaten by your more animal-like. Then the zooplankton is eaten by the small fish. Bigger fish eats the small fish, and then you've got your herring that are eating the trout. And as you go up, this is ppm, parts per million. And as you go up the food chain, more and more of the PCB is accumulating in the tissue, and it becomes more and more toxic. There is a fund as you go into Desire to Learn. If you go down, there is a study area. You can go to the study area, talk about DDT. Now, DDT here in America is often avoided. But in areas where malaria is very prevalent, and you're using you're using DDT to fight malaria, now it becomes a life and death situation, doesn't it? You know, it's real easy to sit on top of your soapbox and say, oh, we must do it this way. But we don't have a real malaria problem in the North. There are areas where that is a huge problem. And an insecticide is important. So suddenly you're looking at things just a little bit differently. Did we get the sign-up sheet, Lieutenant Sheehan? Oh, you are so good. Thank you. Anybody not sign up? Okay, anyone else? Okay. We're going to be talking about biomes. You need to be able to know the difference between certain biomes. We're not going to get into it deeply. we're going to do ones that you know and understand. You need to be familiar with environmental concerns. We're going to talk about several environmental concerns that are big right now. There will be, and to start by this, because essay part of the test, we've already gone through several things for essay. One of the questions will be, like explaining the ozone problem, and what I want is what causes it, what effect does it have on the environment, and then how do you fix it. All right? So if we have a problem, do you see it, all right? I don't just identify the problem and say, okay, everybody, stop building homes, right? Everybody here wants a home? How do we solve it? Biosphere is an easy visual areas in the earth where there is life. We used to say, okay, you go up here, there's nothing living here, you go up there, there's nothing living here. More and more, everyone goes, oh, find something living. Places where you wouldn't expect them, places that are very, very up in the atmosphere, things that are very hot, things that are very cold, deep down in the ocean, we nothing could live because there's no sunlight that reaches it, something living there. Biome, you have your major terrestrial biomes. Put a star by this one. A biome depends a lot on temperature and rainfall. This is climate. Climate determines what the biome is. And basically climate is your temperature, the hot and cold, and how much water you get. They are usually described by their vegetation. What will grow here? You've got your deserts, you've got your rainforest, plant life. Hot and cold, your temperature, and how much rainfall will determine what plants will survive there. What plants are growing there will determine who can live. Right? What animals can live there. Another thing, types of plants that grow in a particular biome depend on altitude. That's your height above sea level, and latitude. How close you are to the equator, or how far away you are from the equator. You know the difference between Colorado and Montana as far as climate? Big difference. Biomes within these categories are distinguished by their degree of moisture. Again, if you're not getting any rain, not much to grow in. Did you know that some of our poles, if we go to the desert, get so very little snowfall, and you think, well, wait a minute, we have, 100 feet of ice growing up because it never melts. All right. The tilt of the Earth is really important in making your system. Here along the equator, the sunlight is strikes mostly directly. So you're going to have a warmer climate. And because of where it is, you have warmer climate most of the year. But now as you go away from it, this is latitude, right? Further away from it. Sorry, I have to try with it now. I'm having problems. Okay, further away from it, you go down here. If it's tilted away, you're going to have winter. If it's tilted towards, you have summer. Up here in like Norway or Alaska, you have the midnight sun during the summer. Where things are growing, you have a lot of sunlight. And then down here, you're lucky if you see the sun at all during the winter. The latitude makes a difference. This is altitude, elevation. As you go up, what will grow changes. The difference between Pueblo and Rye, or Pueblo and San Isabel. This just shows you different biomes around the world. And there are biomes that tend to, we're in certain areas. Savanna, grassland, tundra, tropical rainforest. This is what we hear a lot about. Very warm, very moist, a lot of rainfall. 79 to 157 inches a year. We would be flooded. We would be in so much trouble. Because you have a lot of rain, nutrients cycle very, very quickly. Your plants are all fighting for those nutrients in those cycles. They have poor soil. The soils are nutrient poor. That's why you do that slash and burn. It's burning, you're trying to turn stuff to the soil. But once you've grown a couple of years, that's used up. Very diverse in what grows there. A lot of biodiversity, a lot of different animals, a lot of different plants. We do have cold rainforests, and not quite as biodiverse. Here we have every level of your rainforest has things living on it. We have things in the tops of the trees, live up there, never touch the ground, get the water, they get everything they need up. So you have the kind of across the coral region. High temperature, lots of water. Grassland. Grassland, you're going to have dry and wet seasons. So you're going to have a monsoon, right? Rainfall goes between 10 and 40 inches per year. Your grasslands tend to have a hot and cold season. They have summer and they have winter. Because of the conditions, it's going to get close real fast. Your grass is what grows. You're not going to have a lot of shrubs. You're not going to have a lot of trees. That doesn't mean there are none at all. It's just basically very few. You'll have certain areas where you might have conditions right for trees. These are great for grazing. These are great for your huge herds. You have frequent fires, again, to maintain the grass. You go through, you get rid of the old nutrients, put back in, new grass comes along. As you go east, we get what the Comanche grassland. Again, most of our prairie has been replaced by farmland. The prairie grasses were real good at surviving drought. Our crops that we planted in farms, you have dry years and there's nothing to hold down the good topsoil. Winds come along and blow it away. The Dust Bowl, Texas this summer, or Texas had a rough summer days. Here we have grassland. A lot of your central parts of America, grassland. Fires frequent, fire nature. Desert, less than 100 inches. So very little moisture, right? Little or no vegetation. Not going to have thick, lush growth. There's just not the water to support it. Plants have to learn. Do I need to go back? I have somebody looking at something else. They have to learn how to adapt to the situation. They have to be able to get water and they have to keep the water. A lot of your succulents, a lot of your cacti. Deep roots. They store the water and they have skins that are thick and almost waxy. To prevent a lot of loss to evaporation. Real fast reproductive cycles. when the rains come, they blossom, they seed very quickly. Here, there are your beeches. Great campfire, right? Tundra. Tundra is up in your Arctic or alpine region, usually above a tree line. Tundra doesn't have trees. Okay? Your seasons are cold and colder, wind. So permafrost layer. Permafrost means that as you go down in your layers of your soil, you reach an area that is always frozen. There isn't enough heat to actually melt it. You don't have, again, no trees, small shrubs. You get a lot of like spag and moss, you have these mosses. Moved my sister lab this when we drove up through Canada and all this in this area. Go out and walk on it. Oh, and it's spongy. Fun. Beautiful picture of it. I don't know if it was true tundra, but it was more like tundra than anything I'd ever been on before. Yes.
Can you go back?
Yes, I can. Is that far enough? Yeah.
So, what is Colorado Cedars about? Like,
Is that a what? No, we're not ice too cold.
Okay,
We have warm, we have a summer, we have a winter. We would be, we're probably prairie. But we're not a desert because we're not that dry. We get, what, 10 to 20 inches of rain here. So it would be more of a grassland.
So what did you say the example of the journey?
Tundra is going to be towards your poles, towards the Arctic. It's cold season. Okay, as you look up in here, it's way up here. There you have some in Alaska, and up here it's way up there. I'm trying to get out of your way to get on my bed. Okay. Tundra is in cold areas. Not quite the pole. So you do have in the tundra. You know, in California, the mighty redwood, in the tundra it would be a flower. Don't have a growing season.
Is that all over Alaska or just
Parts of it. Now, there's things that affect climate. If you are by the ocean in and of itself will affect the climate around it. You have warm waters, you have cold waters. That actually make a real big difference in climate. And there are processes that keep those currents going and all this. So if you're by an ocean, being by an ocean will affect what happens. The further inland you go, the less effect that it has. We have aquatic biomes. We have a lot of saltwater biomes. We've got freshwater, coast. What lives in that water is very important. Our oceans are incredibly important source of food also. Here's coral reef. Look at this incredibly biodiverse communities. There's a lot of going on there. You've got photosynthesis, you've got a lot of food chains there in your aquatic food chain. You've got marine. This is also considered a marine ecosystem. Alright. Up in Denver, there used to be, I'm assuming there still is, there's an aquarium where you go in and it takes from the top of the mountain and it follows what's living in the water down as you get into the bigger river. You know, the little fish that are up in there, and as they go along the shore, things and travel down. I had a good time. Okay, this is considered an aquatic environment. Estuary. Estuaries are a place where a freshwater river flows into salty water ocean. Okay, New Orleans or the Mississippi joins the Gulf of Mexico. Huge estuary. They tend to have a lot of food. Because of that, you have nurseries for a lot of sea animals. Food is plentiful. It's a good place to have baby born.